Insights on Leadership in Life. I'm your host, Roberta Pickett, and I'm here with my guests, Virginia Manor and Wendy Ward, this evening, and we are talking about aging with grace.
Yes.
And we're experts at it.
Well, I don't take claim for that, but I'm working on it.
And that's the thing, is that we're all working on it.
Yes.
We're working on what does it mean and how can we do it. So let's talk first about what does it mean to age. What is aging just a physical thing?
Oh, definitely not. No, definitely not. Because as a woman's body matures through life, so does how she looks at herself. And as her chapters close, when her children grow and leave the home, there's just events that happen through that life. And it's about choices the whole time. And so how you look at yourself, what you want to be when you grow up, is never, I don't look at being old. I look at new experiences.
Yeah.
Great. So it's a perspective.
Yes.
So it's not just the physical changes that come about, but it's also the mental or emotional changes that occur or how we choose to face that next part of our life.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think not just physical. I notice new things happening physically, but also mentally. I used to be a great multitasker, and it's not quite as good as it's not there like I used to be able to do.
That it's not, that we're never really good at that anyway.
Yeah,
They say now that it's better to be focused than it is to be doing 25 things.
Yeah.
Think about it. Is that part of what caused so much ADD going on in our society, that we're trying to do so many things at the same time? I don't know.
I don't think I grew out of that, because I like to have multiple things going on, and just...
But literally at the same time? Or interesting.
Yep. I like to have a lot of different things, so that, to just focus on one thing, and then have it finished. Although I like to finish my projects, it's like it consumes, and then you get into the next thing. And I like to just sort of enjoy it all in different areas for different reasons. So maybe I never grew out of
That's okay.
process.
Yeah. So are you afraid of aging?
No, I'm not, because you mentioned something about learning or just the new experiences, and that's really, I think, if I look at the outside, what do I look like, how outer driven, then I'm going to be trying to keep up with that. But if I really shift to my inside and I want to be the best person I can be for the next amount of time that I have here on Earth, then that's a different focus.
Absolutely.
And that keeps me excited, and so that's where I'm at. I'm inside.
The interesting thing about that, though, I believe, is that when you do shift that focus inwardly and focus on who you want to be and how you want to be,
Right.
it has an impact on the body and on the outside. And I think it changes how we look if we are focusing on that inner. I don't know.
It's that
Maybe I'm making
sparkly
that up.
eyes, maybe,
Yeah, it's the sparkle.
It is,
It's
yeah.
that inner sparkle.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. It's really important, I think, to stay focused on where you are and where you want to go. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And that can be, being 65 and thinking, what do I want to emulate and do when I'm 80? And having that goal to look forward, to be forward thinking, not my best days are gone.
Yes.
I don't have my looks, or I have my energy, or I don't have whatever it is. I don't have the money anymore I once made. Whatever it is being content and realizing that you're just walking down the journey, the road, and it's, how you want to walk that road. Do you want to take a little side street, or you want to just stay straight and narrow and focused?
And either one is actually okay.
It is, because I like to meander.
I love the quote, all who wander are not lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
It is. It's a good one. There's something about that. So what do you think aging with grace is then?
And we I mentioned it in the first segment of, I think when your grace to me is when you have an obstacle or a challenge, and it's how you deal with that, whether it's aging or anything. And I think that sometimes there's things you cannot control, you can't change. And I think that there are things that you can look at and say, okay, I can work on this and I can do that. And I think it's that attitude of that you bring to the table for both things. You know, it's like, all right, I can accept this, and is there a silver lining in it? And I can work on this, and so that gives me something to focus on. So I think it's, yeah, that's grace for me, and so that applies to aging too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Virginia?
Well, I think it is the acceptance, you know, that we are going down the journey of life and that we can't be pulled back. We need to move forward. And what do we contribute in that? You know, we start looking at what do we want to be remembered for by our family and people around us. And, you know, not in accomplishments, but by your demeanor and who you were. I think of older women I've known, and, you know, there's been so much I've gained from them through their struggles and their challenges in life.
So are there certain characteristics you think that of someone who ages with grace that are consistent, or is it wide open but more dependent on just your acceptance of the circumstances and working with what you have?
I think it's attitude. I think it's really, don't you? I mean, it's
So the
just-
personality
just-
can be totally different, but the attitude
Towards that.
is key.
I can handle this, or I mean, if I think of someone with grace, you know, it's like I can do this, you know, and do it with aplomb, you know, just you know.
Do you have someone in mind when you think of someone who ages with grace? Does someone come to mind for you?
It does for me. I'm thinking of a woman I've known, and she's had a lot of ups and downs in her life, and she's just always been someone who emulated deep strength and a lot of humor and acceptance of those circumstances and working through them and not being stuck in them, but working through them and then coming out the other side and sort of reinventing
You know,
herself,
I love
but
the
always
idea of
with a
humor too, that there's something
Yes.
about you can't change it sometimes, but you can laugh about it.
And that's that
Yeah,
acceptance.
it's
Yeah.
accepting it and then saying, okay,
Yeah.
I am where I am now, and laugh a little bit about yourself, or even our foibles or our faux pas or our changing body, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we
little
can't
laugh.
do the things we once did.
Not
You know, you don't always
Most
have
of
the.
them.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
love that
I'm
song,
saying you
I
don't
can
always
do
have
it
the upper
once.
body strength you
Yeah.
once
Right.
did. I found that out. I was trying to open a jar.
Yeah.
That I used to always be able to do it. I didn't need the can opener to pop the lid a little. And now I find I don't have that, you know, so I went to Motherload CrossFit to see about signing up for some classes.
I need to work on my hands.
But, you know, I'm realizing that, you know, your core, all these things kind of reshape themselves, and it's part of living.
Yeah.
But you can, you know, you can go and do that. And I look at something like Motherload CrossFit. You know, you can do that, or you could go to something like Fit After 50, where they just use stretch bands and
Or yoga.
and you're doing something to also, it changes your frame of mind because you're working.
Do you have someone that comes to mind?
I do. My mother and my father both, and then the women on the ward side, my dad's side, he's had 3 sisters, and they all, one of them started walking the Appalachian Trail when she turned 50, and she walked the whole trail. So she walked
All
from Maine to
3,000
Georgia.
miles?
Yes,
Woo!
in sections. But after 50, she started doing that, and she continued. So
Impressive.
yeah. So they kept active. You know, my great Aunt Clara never went to a doctor. You know, but she was in her garden. She was doing things. You know, till she was 80. So I don't know. They just kept doing things that they wanted to do.
I just saw a posting today, as a matter of fact, about an Australian woman who is 100, who is a dancer. And she has her own dance studio, and it's more modern dance and what's the word for it? where, well, where you express, you know, it's like your art, but it's
Right.
through dance.
Yeah.
And, you know, she is in charge of her studio. She choreographs the whole thing.
Wow.
Just determines the outfits they wear, all of that. She's 100, and I was watching a video of her. She's so graceful. It's beautiful.
yeah.
And you think, yeah, can she make the moves she once did? Probably not.
Right.
But
She uses other gifts.
she uses other gifts.
Yeah.
And it's that inside,
Yeah.
that attitude, I think, that
Yes.
comes out in her physical, even though she can't do what she did before.
And it sounds like maybe she's excited about what she's doing.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah,
that
passionate,
gives that
passion.
passion, yeah, for life.
Well, even for people, you know, who are perhaps homebound, you know, volunteerism is huge. When you volunteer, whether you're making, like at Lifeline, armchair volunteerism by making calls to other seniors,
Yes.
you're giving back and you're in their life, you're getting something and you're giving something. And that, I believe, really gives a lot of substance to your life rather than just focusing on, I can't get out and physically do what I want to do, and becoming negative and structured and all. You reinvent that and you find something that can give you
Yeah,
that sense of accomplishment and
Yeah.
yeah.
And interesting because they're doing what they can do, not what they but it's still necessary and important. So we're going to take another break, take a chance to come back in 1 minute.